Impact Report, anticipating a 30% market share shift in automotive electrification and supply chain sectors by 2025. Date, January 31, 2025. Executive Summary. The automotive industry is undergoing a monumental shift towards electrification, with projections indicating a 30% market share transition by 2025. This transformation is significantly influenced by Volkswagen's strategic initiatives, which are set to redefine international competition and alter global automotive dynamics. Key developments and trends. 1. Electrification growth. The International Energy Agency (IEA) forecasts a surge in electric vehicle (EV) adoption, with the global stock of EVs projected to reach 525 million by 2035. Major markets like China, Europe, and the US are expected to see electric light-duty vehicles (LDVs) account for 40% to 70% of sales by 2030, driven by robust government policies and ambitious targets. 2. Volkswagen's strategy. Volkswagen has elevated its battery electric vehicle (BEV) delivery targets, aiming for 55% in the US and 80% in Europe by 2030. This shift is in response to market pressures, rising costs, and evolving consumer preferences. However, challenges such as high operational costs in Germany have led to considerations of plant closures and workforce reductions. 3. Global EV market dynamics. Chinese manufacturers including BYD and Chery are aggressively penetrating European and North American markets, focusing on local production to mitigate tariff impacts. This competitive pricing strategy is exerting pressure on established automakers like Volkswagen and Stellantis, who are forming joint ventures with Chinese firms for battery production. 4. Regulatory pressures and tariffs. The US and Canada have imposed higher tariffs on EV imports from China, prompting manufacturers reliant on Chinese supply chains to reassess their strategies. The EU has also enacted tariffs on battery electric vehicle imports, pushing European automakers to localize production. 5. Technological advancements and supply chain resilience. The integration of digital technology is becoming essential for enhancing efficiency within automotive logistics. Companies are exploring automation and AI to optimize supply chains. Volkswagen's digital production strategy is designed to improve manufacturing speed and adaptability for EVs. 6. Market fluctuations. Despite reports of declining EV sales in Europe, the IEA anticipates a rebound in sales driven by increasing registrations and a shift in consumer preferences towards sustainable transportation options. For instance, Germany witnessed a significant rise in BEV production in late 2024, indicating a recovery in demand. 7. Future outlook. By 2025, the automotive sector is expected to undergo a seismic shift as companies adapt to new market realities through strategic partnerships, technological investments, and a focus on sustainability. The ongoing rivalry between Western automakers and Chinese manufacturers will further shape the landscape. Volkswagen's strategic initiatives. Volkswagen's electrification strategy is pivotal in this transformation. The company has responded to market dynamics by enhancing its production capabilities and investing in battery development. The expansion of its manufacturing footprint, particularly in China, reflects an aggressive shift towards meeting global demand for electric vehicles while navigating regulatory challenges. Investment in battery production. Volkswagen has ramped up investment in battery technology through partnerships with leading battery manufacturers to secure a stable supply chain. This approach aims to mitigate risks associated with reliance on external suppliers, particularly from China. Localizing production. In response to tariff pressures, Volkswagen is localizing production in key markets to ensure competitiveness. This includes plans for new assembly plants in Europe and leveraging existing facilities to produce EV components domestically. Consumer engagement. Volkswagen is actively engaging consumers through marketing and educational campaigns to increase awareness and acceptance of electric vehicles. This strategy is critical in counterbalancing the skepticism surrounding EV adoption. Global market dynamics. The competitive landscape of the automotive industry is rapidly evolving. Chinese manufacturers are positioning themselves as formidable competitors, leveraging cost advantages and aggressive pricing strategies to capture market share in Europe and North America. Emerging competitors, companies like BYD and Chery, are not only exporting vehicles but are also establishing localized production facilities to circumvent tariffs and meet regional demand. This trend poses a significant challenge to established automakers, compelling them to innovate and adapt their strategies. Regulatory landscape. The regulatory environment is becoming increasingly stringent, with governments worldwide implementing measures to accelerate the transition to electric mobility. This includes incentives for consumers, stricter emissions targets, and support for charging infrastructure. Technological advancements in supply chains. The integration of digital technologies is reshaping the automotive supply chain. Companies are investing in automation and AI to enhance manufacturing processes and logistics efficiency. Digital production strategies. Volkswagen's approach to digital production emphasizes flexibility and speed, enabling rapid adjustments in response to market changes. This strategy is critical in ensuring that production aligns with consumer demand. Supply chain optimization. The use of AI and data analytics is becoming commonplace in supply chain management, allowing manufacturers to anticipate demand fluctuations and optimize inventory levels. This is particularly important in the context of EV production, where demand can be volatile. Conclusion. Volkswagen's strategic initiatives in electrification are set to redefine international competition within the automotive sector. The anticipated 30% market share shift towards electric vehicles by 2025 underscores the urgency for automakers to innovate and adapt. As the global automotive landscape continues to evolve, the interplay between regulatory pressures, technological advancements, and competitive dynamics will shape the future of mobility. The automotive industry's transition to electrification is not only a response to environmental concerns but also a strategic maneuver to navigate an increasingly complex and competitive global marketplace. By leveraging its strengths and adapting to emerging challenges, Volkswagen aims to solidify its position as a leader in the new era of automotive dynamics. The automotive industry is undergoing a transformative phase, with projections indicating a 30% market share shift towards electrification and a revamped supply chain landscape by 2025. This development is largely driven by Volkswagen's strategic maneuvers, which are poised to redefine international competition and alter global automotive dynamics. Key counterintuitive insights. 1. Electrification versus internal combustion engines (ICE). While the narrative surrounding electric vehicles (EVs) often emphasizes their rapid growth, there is a prevailing misconception that sales of internal combustion engine (ICE) vehicles will plummet in parallel. In reality, the transition may not result in a swift decline of ICE vehicles, as many consumers remain loyal to traditional vehicles for various reasons, including cost and availability. The projected increase in EV sales coincides with a gradual phase-out of ICE vehicles rather than an abrupt cessation. 2. Regulatory pressures. The perception that regulatory pressures will uniformly benefit EV sales overlooks the complexities of local and global market dynamics. For instance, high tariffs imposed on EV imports from China by the US and Canada may inadvertently protect local manufacturers yet also stifle competition, potentially leading to higher consumer prices. This could slow the overall pace of electrification as consumers may be deterred by increased costs. 3. Cost competitiveness. It is often believed that EVs are becoming increasingly accessible and cheaper for consumers. However, despite falling battery prices, the overall cost of EV ownership may still be high due to additional expenses such as charging infrastructure, maintenance, and insurance. Furthermore, The market's shift towards more affordable BEV models from companies like BYD might lead to a perception of affordability that doesn't fully translate across all brands and models. 4. Market dynamics. The assumption that established automakers like Volkswagen will lead the charge in EV production is challenged by the aggressive strategies of Chinese manufacturers such as BYD and Chery. These companies are not only localizing production to avoid tariffs but are also leveraging competitive pricing strategies that could disrupt the market share of traditional brands. The counterintuitive reality here is that new entrants may outpace legacy brands in innovation and market capture despite the latter's historical dominance. 5. Technological advancements. The integration of digital technologies in logistics and production is often seen as a straightforward path to efficiency. However, the reality is that such advancements come with significant upfront investments and potential disruptions during the transition period. Companies that rush to adopt these technologies without a well-planned strategy may encounter operational hiccups that can hinder their overall progress in electrification. 6. Consumer demand. A common assumption is that consumer demand for EVs will grow exponentially as awareness of climate change increases. However, fluctuating consumer confidence influenced by factors such as economic conditions and personal preferences may lead to unpredictable patterns in EV adoption. Reports of slowing EV sales in Europe illustrate that demand does not always align with policy initiatives or environmental concerns. 7. Labor dynamics. The narrative of job loss due to automation and plant closures typically emphasizes a negative impact on the workforce. Surprisingly, the push towards electrification and the associated technological advancements may create new job opportunities in emerging sectors such as battery manufacturing and EV maintenance, albeit requiring different skill sets. This highlights the need for strategic workforce development initiatives to equip workers for evolving roles. 8. Geopolitical factors. The idea that geopolitical tensions will harm the automotive supply chain is prevalent, yet the reality is more nuanced. For example, while trade disputes may introduce tariffs and barriers, they also spur innovation and localization efforts that can strengthen domestic production capabilities. Thus, geopolitical challenges may inadvertently lead to a more resilient and diversified supply chain in the long term. 9. Investment trends. There's a perception that the influx of investment into EV infrastructure will lead to immediate improvements in market conditions. However, the timeline for realizing the benefits of these investments is often longer than anticipated, with many projects facing delays. As a result, the anticipated boost in consumer confidence and adoption rates may not materialize as quickly as expected. 10. Environmental impact. While EVs are often touted as a solution for reducing emissions, the environmental footprint of battery production and disposal is frequently downplayed. The production of batteries involves significant resource extraction and energy consumption, leading to a complex environmental narrative that challenges the simplistic view of EVs as entirely green alternatives. In summary, the anticipated 30% market share shift in the automotive sector by 2025, largely influenced by Volkswagen's strategy, presents a multifaceted landscape where numerous counterintuitive dynamics are at play. The interplay of consumer behavior, regulatory frameworks, technological advancements, and geopolitical factors will significantly shape how the industry navigates this transition. Understanding these intricate relationships is crucial for stakeholders aiming to adapt and thrive in the evolving automotive ecosystem. Key overlooked content in the report. 1. Local production strategies of Chinese manufacturers. A notable element that many may overlook is the aggressive localization strategies employed by Chinese manufacturers such as BYD and Chery, who are targeting European and North American markets. These companies are not merely exporting vehicles but are investing in local assembly plants to circumvent tariffs and reduce shipping costs. This trend signifies a fundamental shift in the automotive landscape. whereby established players like Volkswagen may face heightened competition not just from imported vehicles but from locally assembled Chinese EVs. This localization is significant as it not only enhances competitiveness through reduced costs but also allows for quicker adaptations to local market preferences and regulatory requirements. 2. Regulatory pressures and tariffs. The imposition of tariffs on EV imports from China by both the US and Canada is crucial in shaping market dynamics. Many reports focus on the immediate impact of tariffs but often overlook the long-term strategic responses from manufacturers. For instance, the increased costs associated with tariffs may lead automakers to reassess their supply chains and production strategies, possibly accelerating the shift towards localized manufacturing. This regulatory environment is significant as it can lead to a reshaping of global supply chains, where companies prioritize producing vehicles closer to major markets to mitigate tariff impacts. 3. Volkswagen's high operational costs and strategic responses. Volkswagen's operational challenges in Germany, including high labor and energy costs, have led to considerations for plant closures and workforce reductions. While this is mentioned in the report, the implications of these decisions are profound. The potential closure of production facilities could result in a loss of technological expertise and capabilities in Europe, impacting the long-term viability of the European automotive sector. Furthermore, the shift of production to lower-cost regions or countries could result in job losses and economic disruption in traditional automotive manufacturing hubs. For technological integration and supply chain resilience, the report highlights the integration of digital technologies within supply chains, which is a crucial factor that is often overlooked. The use of automation and artificial intelligence (AI) in logistics and production processes is not just a trend, it represents a paradigm shift in how automotive companies can enhance efficiency and adaptability in their operations. The significance lies in the potential for these technologies to streamline operations, reduce costs, and improve responsiveness to market changes, thus providing a competitive edge. 5. Market fluctuations in consumer behavior. The report notes fluctuations in EV sales, particularly in Europe, where the market has seen inconsistent demand. While some may interpret this as a negative trend, it is essential to recognize the underlying shifts in consumer behavior towards sustainability and electric mobility. The rebound in sales towards the end of 2024 suggests a latent demand that could be unleashed with better consumer education, infrastructure development, and marketing strategies. Understanding consumer preferences and behaviors is crucial for automakers to tailor their offerings and marketing strategies effectively. 6. Collaborative ventures and strategic partnerships. The report mentions Volkswagen's collaborations with battery manufacturers and other automotive firms but may not emphasize the broader trend of strategic partnerships across the industry. These collaborations are crucial for sharing expertise, reducing costs, and accelerating the development of new technologies. The significance of these partnerships lies in their potential to drive innovation and enhance competitive positioning in a rapidly evolving market. 7. Emerging markets and their role in electrification. Emerging economies are increasingly setting ambitious targets for the electrification of transport. While the report provides insights into the initiatives in countries like India, it is essential to recognize that these markets represent significant growth opportunities for automotive manufacturers. The electrification efforts in these regions can lead to increased demand for EVs, driven by government incentives and growing consumer awareness. The significance of this trend cannot be understated as it highlights a shift in the global automotive market dynamics towards inclusivity and sustainability. 8. Environmental and sustainability goals. The report touches upon the environmental impacts of the automotive industry but may not fully explore how these goals are reshaping corporate strategies. Automakers are increasingly being held accountable for their environmental footprints, which is leading to a more profound commitment to sustainability in all aspects of their operations. The significance of this shift lies in its potential to redefine competitive advantages in the industry, as companies that prioritize sustainability may gain favor with consumers and regulators alike. Conclusion. In summary, the anticipated 30% market share shift in the automotive sector driven by electrification and changing supply chains is accompanied by numerous nuanced developments that warrant closer examination. The strategic responses of major players like Volkswagen to these shifts, including localization of production, technological integration, and partnerships, are pivotal in redefining competition within the global automotive landscape. Furthermore, the evolving regulatory environment, consumer behavior, and sustainability goals will significantly influence how companies navigate the challenges and opportunities presented by this transition. Understanding these overlooked aspects is essential for stakeholders to adapt effectively and position themselves strategically in an increasingly competitive and dynamic automotive market. 1. Electrification growth and market dynamics. The projected growth in the electric vehicle (EV) market is a critical point of analysis, particularly with the International Energy Agency forecasting a significant increase in global EV stock. By 2035, the total is expected to reach 525 million. Driven by stringent government policies and aggressive market targets. A deep dive into the implications of this growth reveals the competitive landscape shifting towards electrification, with electric light-duty vehicles (LDVs) alone anticipated to make up a substantial portion of sales across major markets including China, Europe, and the US. This trend not only highlights the urgency of transitioning to sustainable transportation but also underscores the strategic moves companies like Volkswagen are making to capture this emerging market share. 2. Volkswagen's strategic ambitions. Volkswagen's ambitious targets for battery electric vehicles (BEVs) are paramount in understanding how their strategy will redefine the automotive landscape. The company has increased its delivery goals for BEVs in the US and Europe significantly. The implications of these targets extend beyond internal operations. They reflect a broader response to competitive pressures and shifting consumer preferences amidst rising production costs. An in-depth analysis of Volkswagen's adjustments, including potential plant closures and workforce reductions in Germany, will provide insights into how traditional automakers are navigating the dual challenges of maintaining profitability while investing heavily in electrification. 3. Global market competition. The competitive dynamics in the EV market, particularly from Chinese manufacturers like BYD and Chery, present a critical point for discussion. These companies are actively pursuing market share in Europe and North America through localized production to mitigate tariff impacts. This competitive pressure forces established automakers to rethink their strategies, particularly in terms of pricing, production localization, and partnerships. Exploring how Volkswagen and other Western automakers are responding to this competitive landscape, especially regarding joint ventures and collaborations with Chinese firms for battery production, will reveal the complexities of international automotive competition in the electrification era. 4. Regulatory environment and supply chain resilience. The evolving regulatory landscape, including tariffs on EV imports and stricter emissions standards, plays a significant role in shaping market strategies. The US and Canada's introduction of higher tariffs on Chinese EV imports alongside the EU's similar measures necessitates a strategic pivot for many manufacturers. Additionally, the integration of digital technologies and AI in supply chain management is becoming increasingly vital for improving efficiency and resilience in automotive logistics. Analyzing the intersection of regulatory pressures and technological advancements will provide a comprehensive view of how these factors are influencing global automotive dynamics as companies like Volkswagen adapt to a rapidly changing environment. In conclusion, these 4 points encapsulate the significant trends and challenges facing the automotive industry as it navigates the transformative shift towards electrification by 2025. The interplay between market dynamics, strategic corporate actions, competitive pressures, and regulatory frameworks will ultimately redefine international automotive competition and influence the future of mobility. Here are 3 famous historical cases that resonate with the anticipated shift in the automotive sector towards electrification and the strategic responses of companies like Volkswagen. 1. The rise of Japanese automakers in the 1980s. In the 1980s, Japanese automakers like Toyota and Honda began to gain significant market share in the United States and globally. This shift was driven by their focus on fuel efficiency, quality, and innovative manufacturing techniques such as lean production. The Japanese automakers capitalized on the oil crises of the 1970s, which had heightened consumer awareness about fuel efficiency. As a result, they established a competitive edge over American manufacturers who were slow to adapt to changing consumer preferences. The strategic pivot of these companies not only reshaped the automotive landscape but also forced traditional automakers to rethink their strategies, much like what is happening now with the shift towards electric vehicles (EVs). 2. The transition from horse-drawn carriages to automobiles. The late 19th and early 20th centuries witnessed a monumental shift from horse-drawn carriages to gasoline-powered automobiles. Pioneers like Henry Ford revolutionized the industry with the introduction of assembly line production, significantly lowering costs and making cars more accessible to the masses. This transition disrupted traditional carriage manufacturers and transformed urban infrastructure, paving the way for modern transportation dynamics. The current shift towards electrification echoes this historical transition as new technologies and consumer demands again redefine transportation and create competitive pressures similar to those faced by early automakers. 3. The digital revolution and the music industry. The late 1990s and early 2000s saw a dramatic transformation in the music industry due to the advent of digital technology. Companies like Napster disrupted traditional music distribution models, leading to a significant shift in how music was consumed and distributed. Established record labels were forced to adapt, with many failing to respond promptly to the new digital landscape. This historical case illustrates how technological advancements can radically alter market dynamics and consumer behavior, similar to how electrification and digital technologies are transforming the automotive sector today. Automakers like Volkswagen must navigate this evolving landscape to maintain competitiveness and relevance. These cases illustrate how strategic pivots in response to market shifts and technological advancements can redefine entire industries, just as the automotive sector is currently experiencing with the move towards electrification and sustainability. The automotive industry is on the brink of a major transformation, particularly in the realms of electrification, supply chain management, and international competition. By 2025, a significant 30% shift in market share towards electric vehicles (EVs) and changes in supply chains is anticipated, primarily driven by Volkswagen's strategic initiatives. Here are key predictions regarding how this shift will redefine global automotive dynamics. 1. Electrification dominance. The surge in electric vehicle adoption is expected to accelerate, with the International Energy Agency (IEA) forecasting a growth in the global stock of EVs to approximately 525 million by 2035. By 2025, EVs are predicted to capture a substantial share of new vehicle sales globally, particularly in major markets like China, the United States, and Europe. Volkswagen's enhanced targets for battery electric vehicles (BEVs) reflect this trend, aiming for up to 80% BEV sales in Europe and 55% in the US by 2030. 2. Competitive landscape shift. Chinese manufacturers, notably BYD and Chery, are set to further penetrate established markets, leveraging competitive pricing and localized production to circumvent tariffs. The US and Canada's tariffs on Chinese EV imports will heighten the competitive pressure on traditional automakers like Volkswagen and Stellantis, prompting these companies to innovate or forge joint ventures with local manufacturers to enhance their market presence. 3. Regulatory and policy impacts. Increasingly stringent emissions regulations will shape the market. The implementation of zero-emission vehicle mandates in various regions will accelerate the transition to EVs. Volkswagen and other automakers will need to adapt their strategies to comply with these regulations while also addressing consumer demand for sustainable options. 4. Supply chain localization. The automotive supply chain is expected to undergo significant localization as manufacturers look to mitigate risks associated with global supply disruptions. This trend is particularly relevant in Europe and North America, where tariffs have prompted manufacturers to establish local production facilities. For instance, Volkswagen is likely to strengthen its partnerships with battery manufacturers in Europe to ensure a stable supply of critical components. 5. Technological innovations. Digitalization and automation will become integral to automotive logistics and production. Companies will increasingly invest in AI and advanced technologies to streamline operations, enhance supply chain resilience, and reduce costs. Volkswagen's digital production strategy aims to achieve this by improving manufacturing speed and flexibility, crucial for adapting to fluctuating market demands. 6. Market recovery and growth. Despite current fluctuations in sales, particularly in Europe, a rebound in EV demand is expected as consumer preferences shift towards electric options. This recovery will be supported by rising registrations and improved charging infrastructure, leading to increased consumer confidence in EVs. 7. Strategic partnerships and collaborations. Automakers will likely pursue strategic partnerships to bolster their market positions. Collaborations with technology firms and battery manufacturers will enable companies to innovate more rapidly and enhance their competitive edge. Volkswagen's partnerships with battery suppliers exemplify this trend, ensuring they remain at the forefront of the electrification movement. 8. Impact on traditional automakers. Traditional automakers face challenges adapting to this rapidly changing landscape. High operational costs and competition from agile newcomers may necessitate significant restructuring. Companies that fail to evolve their business models and embrace electrification may struggle to maintain market share. Conclusion. By 2025, the automotive landscape will be markedly different, characterized by a robust shift towards electrification, heightened competition from global players, and a redefined supply chain strategy. Volkswagen's proactive approach in setting ambitious electrification targets, enhancing local production capabilities, and leveraging digital technologies will not only redefine its position but also influence the broader dynamics of the global automotive industry. The interplay of these factors will be crucial in determining the future success of automotive manufacturers in an increasingly electric and competitive market.